That's the thing. When people have 10 years behind their belt, people have a standard. And at that point, people are going to expect the next game to have that standard. And if you're there going to drop a new game 10 years later and not have something as simple as having like 3 laps, like that's ridiculous. Like, what do you mean you can't pick your laps? That's... I can see why people are complaining. Like, hey everyone, what's going on? So today we're going to be reacting to why is everyone quitting Mario Kart to play Sonic? And this is by Mr. Fascinating. So someone who loves, you know, Sonic Zero Gravity, Sonic Riders, the sort of Sonic franchise. And I have played, obviously, Mario Kart, obviously on the Wii, DS. This is a very interesting sort of video to see, especially because I did play the network test of the Sonic. So let's check it out.
Mario Kart World should have been unstoppable. Nintendo launched it with the Switch 2, betting on it as the ultimate system seller. But just weeks after launch, something unthinkable started happening. Players booted up their Switch 2, queued for an online race, and got error messages, not because of lag or disconnections. The game literally could not find enough players to start a match, and when lobbies did load, they were half empty. Imagine that, the sequel to a game that sold over 75 million copies, suddenly struggling to fill races. This wasn't just a hiccup, it was the first crack in a 30-year empire.
That's our boy
and out
Sonic.
Of that crack, an old rival appeared,
you know what's crazy about
faster,
Mario Kart,
hungrier,
right? Oh God, the one on the Wii U, that one was around for ages. The one on the Wii U and the Wii, that one was a Goliath. Nothing can monopolize that. And at the time, I just remember just constantly, I mean, even the one on the Switch, oh my gosh, so many updates, and then they just didn't remake the game. Like, they were just printing money. And then the fact now we got Crossworlds coming out very soon, and it just shows like, yeah, people were tired of Mario Kart because that's all we had. And yeah, maybe there was a lot of bots on the previous one. Maybe there was a lot of bots, that's why. But I don't know. This sounds crazy. This is crazy. Damn.
That sold over 75 million copies, suddenly struggling to fill races. This wasn't just a hiccup, it was the first crack in a 30-year empire. And out of that crack, an old rival appeared, faster, hungrier, and suddenly ready to take the crown. For 30 years, Sonic's racing games had lived in Mario's shadow, but now, with Sonic Racing Crossworlds, fans are saying something no one expected to hear. This is actually more fun than Mario Kart. The game is blowing up on Steam charts. It's going viral on social media, with funny moments and crazy crossover characters like Hatsune Miku. Live streams are getting thousands of viewers, and most important of all, unlike with Mario, players are just having a ton of fun. So how did the unshakable Mario Kart lose its grip? And why are people quitting for Sonic of all things?
You know what?
I'm Mr.
I'm going to kind of
Fascinating,
summarize it.
And that's what we'll try to
before
understand
we even
today.
see the rest of this video.
Mario Kart World's
So I'm going to say mostly
happen.
just because people are tired of the Mario Kart series. Just because we've had it for such a long time, so there's just been nothing around to kind of compare it to. Like, yeah, we have the sort of other racing games here and there, but like the thing is with the old Sonic racing games, they were so kind of mid. I remember playing the one on the PS3, Sonic Races, and I don't know, something was just missing about it. It just felt like, yeah, why is Sonic in a cart? Like, yeah, we do know, yeah, he's the fastest hedgehog alive, so you don't need a cart, realistically. But having that game, it just didn't feel that sort of good. And it's like it was missing something. And obviously when I did play the one on the Wii, Zero Gravity, oh, that game was amazing. I think that was one of the first games I had on the Wii. And I remember when I got it, and I just remember telling myself like, oh, I do not need another game. This is the only game I need. And then obviously I got Brawl. But at the time, I was enjoying my time playing Zero Gravity. And at the time, that's the same thing what the vibe gives me for this new game. Like, it doesn't give me exactly like Zero Gravity vibes, but the fact that I can have a board and it's so fast paced and it's like it just feels like a refreshing game. And I think that's why people are messing with this game way more than Mario Kart. And obviously because probably the inflated price and the community. But yeah, let's have a look anyway. Like, we're all speculation at this point.
Because people suddenly stopped loving Mario Kart. It happened because Nintendo changed the rules of the game. For years, Mario Kart thrived on a simple formula: pick up and play chaos. quick races that explode into rivalries, and a perfect balance of fun for casuals and competition for hardcore fans. But in World, Nintendo tried to expand the formula. Instead of simply classic 3-lap sprints, the game pushed players into intermission tracks. They are transition tracks where you drive between courses in long paths. It's a cool novelty, but after some matches, players just get bored. But it gets worse. At launch, it was possible to simply play 3-lap races online. But Nintendo removed that option. It wasn't an accident. They patched it out, removing player choice and forcing everyone into their new vision. Imagine buying a brand new console with a premium Mario Kart game, only to find the one thing you loved most about it is gone. That's not just a design flaw. It feels like a betrayal. And it didn't stop there. The game launched at an $80 price tag, right alongside a $500 Switch 2 that already raised controversy. Nintendo framed Mario Kart World as the must-have launch title. But when players rushed in, what they found was a polished shell with little to do. Even in single-player mode, the open world lacks any kind of substantial progression system to motivate you to explore. The critics were kind, calling it an 86 on Metacritic, but fans were harsher, dragging it down to a 7.0 user score. When Mario Kart World launched, it was the only big game on the Switch 2. People bought it out of necessity, even if they weren't thrilled. Nintendo made one cold calculation. Mario Kart World didn't have to honor the legacy of Mario Kart 8. It just had to sell consoles. And in that sense, it succeeded. The Switch 2 broke sales records. But once people had their shiny new console, they didn't feel any loyalty to the game itself. The job was done, and Nintendo cashed out. This entire ordeal left kart racing fans feeling a huge void. It had been over 10 years since the release of Mario Kart 8, and everyone was hungry for a great kart experience. When World disappointed, the fans became even hungry.
When people have 10 years behind their belt, people have a standard. And at that point, people are going to expect the next game to have that standard. And if you're there going to drop a new game 10 years later and not have something as simple as having like 3 laps, like that's ridiculous. Like, what do you mean you can't pick your laps? Oh, that's... I can see why people are complaining. Like, if it's just that, then damn, it's kind of valid. Like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous, bruh.
And Nintendo could never predict that. In that moment, a blue rival from a war-fought long past would reappear and suddenly compete at the same level again. Sonic Racing Crossworlds was never supposed to be a real contender. Sonic racing games have always been a side project. The fun little distraction that reminded people Sonic existed outside of platformers. Time and time again, even when Sonic's games were great, like Transformed, he was still massively overshadowed. But this time, the timing was perfect. Sega's open beta for Crossworlds launched just as Mario Kart players were growing restless and quitting the game. If players were disappointed, it would tank the game's sales. But what players found was shocking. Instead of long, bloated open-world routes, Crossworlds doubled down on pure arcade chaos. Tight tracks, wild speed, deep customization.
And that's why I love it so far. Because obviously I only got to play a couple hours of
it was everything
of the actual beta test, that network test. And while I played it a bit with my friends, like when I was online, when I realized the customization bit, even though it's not too like serious for me about in terms of the customization, but the fact that I saw that little bit there, and I was like, oh wait, I can make it look like this. I can make it look like that. Like, oh, I can make the board black and blue. Like, this is actually not that bad. Like, there's aura. Like, you can actually like have like this aura around your board to kind of like make yourself look intimidating. Like, it was just little stuff like that where it's not like it was gonna make me like, oh, I'm not gonna buy the game anyway if it didn't have that. But when I saw stuff like that, I was like, oh wow, that's kind of an upgrade from the previous game. From what I can remember, I don't even know if they even had customizations like that on the previous one, but I don't know, there was just a lot of stuff I saw with Crossworlds, and it just seemed like, yeah, this is something I would want. Like, yeah, they just knew what they were doing.
Nintendo had abandoned, wrapped in a package that felt new without losing the heart of what made kart racing addictive in the first place. Crossworlds didn't try to be bigger than Mario Kart World. It went the opposite direction, creating a condensed, high-energy addictive spectacle, and the fans noticed. Streams of the beta pulled massive numbers on Twitch. Influencers began saying it outright. They were having more fun with Sonic Racing Crossworlds than Mario Kart World. That's not just surprising, it's justified. Because this time around, Sonic really is more fun than Mario. Alright, so let me explain why Crossworlds is so fun to play. Crossworlds feels electric because every lap is a choice, not a loop. The moment the leader punches through a portal and picks the second lap route, the race stops being predictable and turns into controlled chaos. You are not just circling a track, you are steering the entire lobby into a different world and a different physics move. It sounds like a gimmick from afar, but in motion it clicks, and it clicks hard. This dynamic rhythm would be even more powerful with systems that create story beats during the lap and a well-balanced, deep customization system. Crossworlds gives you both. First, the rival system. The game tells you exactly who your personal rival is, and it will not shut up about it. You trade places, they bark, and suddenly the race has personal stakes. Even in CPU races, that named pressure keeps the heat on all Grand Prix long. It is small, but it changes how your brain ranks every overtake.
Oh, this is
Second,
a game changer.
The gadget
that
panel.
is actually
Before every race,
the
you
fact that
assemble
I
a
saw
loadout
this
that actually matters.
and then after the I think like the second or third race, I implemented like just the boost. I was like, bro, this is a game changer. People are gonna be stacked online. I'm already seeing people online just talk about them having like the monster trucks at the start and just doing complete carnage. But you know, this is a game changer, 100%. I'm loving it. I'm loving that sort of customization.
Do you chase pure speed or tilt into acceleration and trick boost economy, or get greedy with ring gain and turn every drift into fuel? The trade-offs force the player to express his identity. Players are already
100%.
theory crafting track-specific builds, and that is the kind of depth that keeps people online. Here is the clever balance. Crossworlds is loud and brash, and sometimes it rides the edge of sensory overload. But it pairs that swagger with guardrails that respect new players. Indicators help you nail drift timing and perfect your start. Alerts tell you when to pop a defensive item, and rings rain down often enough that a single hit slows you without ending your race. Then, just when you relax, the game takes rings away for scraping a barrier or trading paint, reminding you that speed has a price. It is generous, then it is mean, and that push-pull keeps you awake. That is the magic Mario Kart World could not bottle this year. Crossworlds does not try to be a platformer between races. It stays a racer, then lets community chaos do the rest. Lifelong Mario Kart players had a taste of the beta and walked away shocked that a Sonic game of all things hit the kart racing.
Oh yeah, crossplay.
That crossplay on top of that, and the game goes instantly viral. If there's one thing Nintendo has never understood, it's the modern online player. For years, Mario Kart Online was always tied to Nintendo's closed ecosystem. You had to play on their servers, on their terms, with no real way to connect outside their walled garden. Sonic Racing Crossworlds shattered that wall. Right from the beta, Sega opened the floodgates with full crossplay. Remember how confident series producer Takashi Iizuka was when he announced crossplay?
That shot is cold.
Unlike another kart racing game, this game will have online cross-platform matchmaking.
That was back when everyone was still clowning on Crossworlds, when only me and like two other people were defending the game. But he already knew he was cooking. With crossplay, it doesn't matter if you are on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or even the Switch itself. You can queue with anyone. And suddenly, lobbies aren't empty. They are bursting with people. Every match feels alive, unpredictable, and full of personalities. That alone gave Sonic a massive edge. This made fans who dropped Mario Kart World invite their entire friend groups to spend hours grinding Crossworlds. The energy was contagious. Sonic has always been the underdog. The console wars were decades ago, but even in the present day, Sega keeps saying they want Sonic to catch up with Mario. And for fans, that dynamic became part of the identity. Rooting for Sonic means rooting for rebellion, for a character who isn't supposed to win, but fights anyway. So when Crossworlds pulls ahead in internet fandom and acclaim, it feels almost like a bug in the Matrix. But it also felt inevitable. Think about it. Nintendo gave people an $80 disappointment. Sega gave people a free beta that was actually fun. One company felt arrogant, the other felt hungry. One treated players like wallets, the other like fans. Which one would you choose? Every fan...
Yeah, like I 100% agree on what you're saying. Like, the fans were craving something not different, but at the same time, something where they can enjoy. And that's what Crossworlds does. Like, speaking to someone who's nostalgic with the Sonic series, for years, like, there's been a lot of games which they drop, and there's just not an itch which I get scratched often with these sort of franchise. And Races actually does Crossworld actually does do that. In term, it just makes it seem more lively. It's just more fun. When I played Mario Kart a lot on the Switch, you know, either at my friend's house or just playing it, it was good at the time, and I felt like, yeah, it did its 10-year service. Like, the fact that they didn't make a new game because they knew it was a printing machine. Like, the formula worked, they dropped DLCs, they added, I think, mirror mode, they added the extra CC, like, it just all worked. So that now that they dropped the, you know, worlds, it just seems like, yeah, they decided to kind of look at it as a financial perspective, and that's something where a lot of fans have clearly saw that and they know what side to choose. But let me know what you guys think anyway. Like, this is a good video and I 100% agree. We'll probably be getting the game. What about you guys? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you soon. Take care, guys.